Welcome to another Telltale Books video. I'm Greg.
I'm Emily.
And we are going to talk about another Edgar Allan Poe, The Oval Portrait. We are Telltale Books, bringing you the best in literature, literary topics, and graphic design and bookmaking.
If you want to support us, you can find us on Etsy and Pango, where you can find gently used, rare, and even top quality used books.
And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and maybe even that bell to be notified when new videos go live.
Thanks for joining us. This is another Gothic classic, but this time, the portrait isn't what haunts you.
And I thought it was an excellent story. It is one of Poe's very well-known stories, but I didn't think it was a top tale. What do you feel?
I didn't really feel like it was a top tale either.
Okay.
And I had actually never read this one before in any of the collections, so it was new to me, and I liked it. But not enough to put it in top tale status.
Okay, so recommended for anybody that wants to do a little deeper dive into Gothic literature, or a little deeper dive into Edgar Allan Poe. So The Oval Portrait is a short story. It was originally published in Graham's magazine for April of 1842. In my bibliography of Poe's work, which may or may not be accurate, it is number 86. And immediately after this came Mask of the Red Death and The Pit and the Pendulum. And we've already reviewed both of those, so we're going to be moving on to after that, which will be The Landscape Garden, number 89. So we're going to be mixing them up a little bit. But it is a very short story. Yeah. And it has...
Took 5 minutes for me to read it.
Yeah. has a really good, I think... a good quote at the beginning of it from the philosophy of composition. Poetry as art is the rhythmical creation of beauty, and the death of a beautiful woman is the most poetical topic in the world. That kind of sums up a lot of Poe's attitudes.
Romantic, a very romantic view.
Yeah, it's also a very serial killer view.
A little creepy.
Yeah,
you know, he tended to kill his darlings frequently in his stories, so.
And to the best of our knowledge, he never actually killed anybody in real life.
No, he got himself killed.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
But he did kind of pine after a lot of the women and his wife after they died. But death was a kind of a commonplace thing back then because you didn't have medicine.
Yeah.
So if somebody got sick, they died.
Yeah.
Usually.
It was anything from the common cold to much more severe things like pneumonia. Things we pretty much survive a lot now. But.
So the story does center around a guy who's staying in a chateau. You want to keep going with the synopsis?
So the guy's staying in a chateau, and he's regarding a lot of the artwork that is in the space, particularly in his sleeping quarters while he's staying there. And the chateau is actually doubling as a hotel. Like, it's kind of one of those things where the family's a little washed up and needed money kind of situation from what I could gather. And so he's staying at the chateau, and he decided to grab all the literature he could about the paintings on the walls because he thought they were interesting. And back in the day, that was a common thing, is that if you owned a household, you had a record of your collection of artistic works.
Okay.
A lot of the time in the library. So he grabbed that and decided to start looking up the information about what each of these paintings was. And then while he's sitting in bed reading it, because he couldn't sleep in the creepy chateau, because, you know, a lot of sleepless nights in Poe stories. And so he decides to shift the candelabra, and when he does, he realizes there's another painting in the corner in an oval frame that he did not notice before because it was hidden in the shadows. And when he stares at it, he kind of gets this really unnerving feeling and just kind of reshifts his candelabra so he doesn't have to see the portrait. He's like, but there was nothing innately unnerving about it at first. It's just a portrait of a woman who was quite beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a lot of like odd feelings about it and decides to flip open the book again and see if he can find the painting. And sure enough, he can. And the whole story of this painting is basically this woman falls in love with a painter, they get married, but the painter is obsessed and married to his work, which is the arts.
Mm-hmm.
And so one day he decides he wants to paint his wife, and she's like just thrilled that he even wants to spend time with her. And what, this is a way they can bond. So as a good wife, she agrees to it. She sits for him, and he just starts obsessing over trying to make this painting so perfect that he doesn't realize his wife is actively dying during that time period while he's painting it.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, when he finally finishes the painting and feels like he has nothing more to do, he finds that his wife is sitting there in the chair and is actually actively dead.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way the story ends.
Yeah.
Where it's just this really, no wonder he got the heebie-jeebies from looking at it. It's the portrait of a woman already gone.
Mm-hmm.
Which wasn't really unusual in, Victorian era and earlier. People were weirdly obsessed with that. Like, when photography became more popular, people would get pictures of their dead relatives laying in caskets, and they'd get paintings of people who were dead, done before they, embalming wasn't that great, so before they rotted too badly, they basically had them waxed and then painted in their coffins. So it's kind of like, it's weird in that way, but for the time, it wouldn't have been that weird.
Yeah,
For him to paint, it's sad that he painted his wife and didn't realize she was dead, but it's not weird to paint a dead woman.
Yeah.
So
Claude Monet painted his wife on her deathbed.
Mm-hmm. And some painters actively painted themselves on their deathbed. Because they were like, what else can I do? This is all I have left. I'm dying here. Might as well document something.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But with this story, Poe is definitely writing a story in what was at that time already a tradition of Gothic literature. He even mentions Anne Radcliffe in the story.
Yeah.
And of course, after this, you get other writers writing similar stories. The Birthmark by Nathaniel Hawthorne has a similar theme to it. And then, of course, you can't ignore the similarities to the Picture of Dorian Gray here.
Yep.
So, and this story was definitely an inspiration for Oscar Wilde in writing his story.
Yeah, would not be surprised.
So it's capturing a kind of a standard trope of Gothic literature and doing it in a nice way, but I felt it was awfully short.
Yeah, it was pretty
and
short.
I felt like, unlike most of Poe's writing, I felt this one, it just had kind of a clumsy feel to it.
It felt
Didn't
clumsy
have a
and
good
predictable
flow.
to me. Like, you
Yeah.
just knew she has, one, it's Poe. You have to die at the end, but it's, a woman has to die in a Poe story. That's just what he does. But I think the big thing for me, too, is it's kind of one of those stories where you're like, oh, so men have always been workaholics. I don't know. Like, I kind of got this, of course he's a workaholic, and of course she dies on his working time. Isn't that just the way life goes? Isn't that just, So it felt really predictable and kind of like, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's how it felt to me. I was like, huh.
And then it is just ridiculously creepy, that whole thing about the death of a beautiful woman is the most poetic topic in the world. Okay.
Yeah, for who? For who?
Not the woman, that's
No,
for sure.
no, she's dead, and sometimes horrifically.
Yeah. So the guys that think this are...
It's a little chauvinistic, actually, when you think about
kind
it.
of necrophiliac.
Yeah.
I just watched the Ed Gein story on
Oh,
Netflix.
Yeah. My husband just watched that, too. It's
That
good.
was creepy.
Yeah. It's good.
So,
yeah, he's a freak. Anyway.
This story is, as simple as it is one that is very creepy and uncomfortable
Yeah.
for its subject matter, and so, I mean,
At the time, it probably was a very shocking story to me. It just kind of felt like more of the same.
yeah,
It doesn't feel like even before this, like, there are other stories similar to this. This is not a trailblazing story. I
right,
feel like there's earlier works where something like this is kind of the theme.
right.
So I'm just kind of like, could have done better.
Yeah, well, and then he wrote Mask of the Red Death. And
I know.
the
Then he had some
Pendulum
bangers
immediately-
after that. Maybe he had to get the bull crap out of his system before
Could
he
be.
got the bangers.
Mhm.
I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely one of those stories.
Yeah, so not the best Poe, not the
Mhm.
worst Poe. Recommended if you like Gothic literature. Definitely not one of my favorites.
You could read it on the toilet though, so if you have a busy
Yeah,
life and
that's
want something
true.
creepy, there it is.
I think that's the whole thing. It might have been better if he would have put more into it.
Mm-hmm. Like
Made
if they
it-
had more
Yeah.
a tumultuous marriage versus just a silent, meek wife who's just ordered around like a dummy.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, yeah, they happen, but not that frequently.
Yeah.
Even back then. There were a lot of very smart wives and strong-willed women. And honestly, both of them would probably have to be working people if he was an artist, because most artists didn't do well.
Yeah.
So she probably
Or
had another life.
Take more time, more description, more symbolic kind of imagery behind it to draw out
Yeah.
the wasting away
Did
of
the
life.
artist ever learn his lesson that he was
Well, no.
a terrible husband?
Artists don't learn their lessons.
Like, that would be nice. Do we get some closure? No, closure's a myth.
Well, yeah, the closure is she dies.
Yeah, she's dead. And he probably thought, oh man, I wish she had been alive so I could have gotten the flush in her cheeks right.
He can make it up.
Yeah. Use your imagination, my guy. Anyway.
Have you ever read The Oval Portrait? We want to hear your thoughts on it. Put your comments about this story into the comments section of the video for everybody to see and appreciate. You know, whether you agree with us or not, you don't have to agree with what we said. You could tell us we're a couple of idiots. But back it up with facts.
We need some rationale.
I had somebody just recently left a comment on a different video of ours that the book was garbage. And that's it. And so first thing I did is write back, well, can you tell me how it's so bad?
Yeah, expound.
And a couple of days passed and no response, so I just deleted and blocked. I don't need comments like that.
Yeah.
I need comments that people can actually get something out of. If you think it's crap, tell us why it's crap and why people shouldn't read it.
Yeah. Tell us the saga of how that person stole your book from you. That's the story I want to hear. Let's hear some real storytelling.
Well, if we
Truth
get
is
somebody
stranger than
saying that Edgar Allan Poe stole from them,
I still want to hear that story. Write me that novel.
You're still alive.
I want to
What's your
know what
secret?
your interpretation is of that.
Yeah.
Oh, I've met some crazies, but I want to hear you out. That's the truth.
So anyway, like I say, we've already reviewed Mask of the Red Death. If you look into, we have a Poe playlist, Edgar Allan Poe playlist. It's in there. That one was number 87, and number 88 is The Pit and the Pendulum, which we've already reviewed. If you go into the playlist, that one's in there. And so the next one we're going to do is number 89 on my list, The Landscape Garden, which I've never read, don't know anything about.
Either.
I'm curious about this
I'm
one.
curious about it too because we've now encountered some personal opinion pieces that Poe has done about aesthetic.
Yeah.
In a lot of regards, so I'm really
I'm
interested
thinking it's
to
gonna
see
be
what
like, kind of like that one where he was doing interior
is that
decorating.
what this is? Yeah, or is this an
now
actual
he's doing
like
horticulture.
story that gets dark?
Don't
is
know.
there a body? Who knows? Yeah, I'm interested.
Well, there's always
to see.
a body out in the garden, so.
Yeah, I'm interested to see though what turn this takes. I'm really interested to see that. So.
Yeah, so come on back and watch that and all the other. We still have more Poe to go. We're not quite close to the end. There's still a bit to go. 5 more years of his life, but then there were some posthumous ones. And we're doing that. We're doing a lot of other people. H.P. Lovecraft, Philip K. Dick, reading Area X, trilogy.
Yep.
Come back for all of those here on Telltale Books.
Yeah. And if you want to keep supporting us, please do so. We would love for you to buy or adopt even one of our books from either our Etsy or our Pango book accounts. It helps us keep doing this. It helps us keep investing in getting more books to read for you and do reviews on. And eventually we would like to get into our own publishing. So it helps build us towards that goal in our future. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.